Although you may not always be able to avoid difficult situations, you can modify the extent to which you can suffer by how you choose to respond to the situations. Similarly, we could not avoid a pandemic like COVID-19, but effectively responding to its negative impacts and embracing its positive outcomes by modifying certain trends would reduce further sufferings. In this video, let's analyze the impact one by one in specific categories and see where we could modify. Feel free to suggest further solutions in the comment section below. In almost all situations, human society suffers when the economy or environment suffers. And the fun fact is, they both are inversely proportional. That is, when environment suffers, economy thrives. And when economy suffers, environment thrives. That's exactly what happened during this pandemic. Humans' day to day activity, as we know, has been on pause with billions of us locked indoor to curtail the pandemic. However, the natural world seems to openly engage in daily activities like never before, with a very positive impact on the environment. Clean air is the most positive impact of this pandemic that highlights the most urgent need for pollution related policies and regulation on a global scale. Each year, the World Health Organization estimates 4.1 million deaths due to air pollution globally. However, according to the study featured in Forbes, 77,000 lives were calculated to be likely saved in China due to reduction in pollution alone. Now, imagine the number of lives likely saved due to reduced pollution throughout the world. Yep, could be in millions. This was possible as the use of vehicles, public transportation, and aviation experienced a limited movement or outright ban, along with all the factories and offices shut down due to global lockdown, resulting in reduction of most dangerous pollutants like particulate matter 2.5 and nitrogen dioxide. So the question arises, what could we do differently to reduce the emission of nitrogen dioxide and particulate matter 2.5 in the long run? As an individual, take responsibility. Carpool, use public transportation, use cycle, or walk whenever possible. 2. Sign a petition asking the government for a state implementation plan that consists of air quality monitors, air quality modeling, emission inventories, emission control strategies, contingency measures with strict policies and rules. 3. Embrace a gradual transition to zero emission vehicles, which can be pure battery electric vehicles or hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Even plug-in hybrid electric vehicles may count as transitional ZEVs. The second positive impact, clean water. The lockdown has reduced the dumping of harmful industrial waste, human excreta from hotel, restaurant, and other tourist activities into the river, resulting in significant improvement in the quality of water. In India, the most polluted river Ganga was found to be suitable for bathing at 27th spot out of 36, according to the Central Pollution Control data. Similar improvements in water qualities was observed in river Yamuna and Kaveri. So what could you do differently for a long-term benefits? Sign an open appeal for government to take strict measurements and proper treatment strategies before dumping industrial waste into the rivers. 2. Make provisions to use human excreta and kitchen waste in biogas plants. This strategy would help manage solid waste disposal in the river. These were positive environmental impacts. Now let's look into the negative economic impact. We are currently facing an economic shock unlike anything we have seen before. Global growth is projected at -3% in 2020, an outcome far worse than during 2009 global financial crisis. This economic shock is felt differently across different sectors, but altogether 27% reduction in activity is observed. Then the most important question that arises is how long would it take to recover? Well, there could be three possible scenarios depending on the lockdown period. One, the optimistic scenario. Here the virus is contained effectively. Lockdown is lifted in quarter two, allowing for a quick economic recovery. Two, intermediate scenario. Here the virus is contained slower. Lockdown is lifted in quarter 3 where economic recovery can begin. And 3. Severe scenario. Here the virus is slowly contained, possibly due to second wave. Lockdown not lifted before an effective vaccine is in place in 2021. The longer the lockdown, the longer it will take to recover. And mind you, recovery will not be easy in all three scenarios. Reasons will be explained in social impact section. However, as we emerge from this crisis, we need to be clear that responding to the short-term economic downturn with bad long-term investment would not make sense. According to new climate economic report, we expect to invest about 90 trillion US dollars in infrastructure until 2030. Ensuring that this infrastructure is sustainable will be a critical determinant of future growth and prosperity. The same report also talks about an economic gain of 26 trillion US dollars until 2030 if bold actions are taken towards sustainable development as compared to business as usual. So what could you do differently? If you're thinking that this is a big political battle, yes, it is. However, if there is no political pressure on governments, the world will go back to unsustainable business as usual rather than emerging with a healthier sense of what is normal. Therefore, the bigger the army, the better. Most of the leading scientists have taken a step ahead and jointly signed an open appeal to use recovery funds to shift to more greener solutions than going back to business as usual. Last but not the least, let's understand the social impact of this lockdown. Unemployment. The global unemployment has already reached at 190 million according to International Labour Organization, with the workers worst affected from these four sectors: food and accommodation, retail and wholesale, business services and administration, and manufacturing. This will result in increased crime rate, increased stress level, homelessness, and family breakdowns. Second social impact is disruption in education. More than a billion youths are now no longer physically in school or universities after the lockdown. This disruption in education and learning may have medium to long-term consequences on the quality of education, especially the graduating students who have experienced major teaching interruption in the final part of their studies and will likely graduate at the beginning of a major global recession. This would force them to accept low-paid jobs and that would have a permanent effect on careers of some. Last but not the least social impact is extreme poverty. According to Food Policy Research Institute, over 140 million people would fall into extreme poverty in 2020, an increase of 20% for present level. This in turn would drive up food security, crime, poor living condition, child labor, diseases, etc. How could we mitigate this impact is an open question yet. If you have a solution, please come forward and take action. Because it's not just government's responsibility alone, it's our responsibility and we all need to work together. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please like, share and comment. And don't forget to subscribe the Sustainability Mindset, a mindset for the changing world.